All right, Shalom. First off, and give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone that teach and were well. As always, peace and salutations to the elect. All right, so Brother Benaiah from the Great Millstone Dallas branch coming back at you with a quick lesson. All right, I ran across this video as you see on the screen. Ran across it earlier today, while I was listening to brothers' videos, and this just happened to pop up, so I decided to click on it and listen to it. And as you brothers and sisters know, or at least you should know, if you've been watching, what's been taking place with the Strait of Hormuz and how it's ultimately affecting the world, these particular economies of the world, these particular, countries, it's clear to see that shortages, they're even speaking about it on the mainstream news now, that shortages are coming, all right, due to what's going on, due to the, current droughts, in particular the states over here in the United States, So ultimately, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is setting up he's mixing up all the ingredients, all right, to make this dish, okay, of destruction that's getting ready to take place on the planet Earth via famine, all right, via wars, all right, and the people are being besieged, all right, because over the years Esau has been able to gradually seize control and seize rights to particular minerals, all right, to particular lands. Bill Gates buying up farmlands, Elon Musk, all these elites, all right, buying up farmlands, and this was all done for a purpose. At one point in time, you had particular, food processing plants just randomly catching fire. You had, fields of cattle just randomly catching fire, and they putting them to death, saying they got some particular, chickens being put to death, cows being put to death, millions of them, man. You see, and it's been happening over years, all right. And while these things were taking place, it has been a big push on what? Beyond meat, lab grown meats, lab grown fruits, GMOs. You see, this big push on, trying to gradually move people away from what they're currently, have the so-called freedom to eat right now, such as real meats. You see, because this shit is about to get cut off, man. And like I said, while you people have been partying, while you've been, consumed with the everyday, grind of the rat race that we all call life over here in Babylon the Great. All right, the devil has been besieging, the people. So let's get this word besiege. All right, it's from the AV1611.com. All right, it says to lay siege to beset or surround with armed forces for the purpose of compelling to surrender, either by famine or by violent attack, as to besiege a castle or city, to beset, to throng around. All right, and that's exactly what's taking place, man. You see, our people have been being besieged right now. Okay, and just because they don't see an army, just because they don't see, them, the actual city being surrounded, or them being surrounded by military, soldiers, they think that they don't believe that they're being besieged. You see, but now Esau has multiple ways to besiege people through his laws, by buying up land, by stopping, taking particular rights away. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what we're seeing. And he's doing this to ultimately compel people to surrender to his will. All right, like it says, either by famine or by a violent attack. And those are going to be the choices that everybody is going to be faced with. Either you're going to submit, you're going to surrender to this man's will, all right, by him starving your ass out, or he's going to try to force you to by attacking you. OK, but nevertheless, I want to play a little bit of this video, get a couple of points, and bring some scriptures out. So Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. So let's get to it.
Gentlemen, it's hard to believe it, but the great struggle is at the doorstep. I didn't know it was going to be coming this quick, but it's incredible how world events are unfolding and how our world in America as well as worldwide is about to change drastically. These incidents that have been taking place, the wars in Ukraine, all of the food processing plants that have been burning up mysteriously, oil infrastructure, pipelines being blown up, all of this is starting to come clear. There seems to be a plan to basically bring in COVID 2.0. It's not going to be a pandemic. What it's going to be are extreme shortages, and I don't know how else to put it other than we're looking at famine.
And the scriptures say that. All right, real quick. I'm gonna go straight to it, because brother's been pulling this out for the longest. This is Luke chapter 21. All right, in verse 25 it says, "And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring." Okay, when we go into these words, distress. All right, it ultimately, when you go to the root, it means to ultimately to be squeezed on each side, a cattle squeeze. All right, and that's exactly what this devil is doing. He's besieging you, like we went into that word besiege. He's surrounding you and gonna force you. Real quick, let's go to it real quick. All right, this is the word sakaneho. All right, Strong's G4912. Go straight to the point. It says of a cattle squeeze that pushes in on each side, forcing the beast to be besieged. Right, forcing the beast into a position where it cannot move. So that the farmer can administer medication. And we know that farmer is Esau, and that medication is going to be that RFID, all right, chip, all right, microchip, man. Fuck it. It is what it is. All right, to hold completely, okay? He's trying to get these people into a position to where he's going to have you completely. It says to hold fast. It says of a prisoner, okay? It says to constrain, oppress, of ills laying hold of one and distressing him, right? And this is exactly what we're seeing taking place, all right? And the devil is doing it, and the Lord ultimately is moving this devil's mind to do so. You see, because Yahweh Shem Yahushua is in control. This is not this, at the end of the day, as the scriptures say in the book of Psalms, that the wicked is the Lord's sword, okay? So let's go into this word perplexity, because it's like the dude said, we're in a time of what? Shortages, okay? This is apparel. I'm gonna let him say it.
Strong's G639. Apareo.
All right.
Apareo.
Apareo. All right. It's that word for perplexity. The root. All right. It says to be without resources. Okay. And that's exactly what's about to happen. That's what the shortage is, to be without resources, to be in straits, to be left wanting, to be embarrassed, to be in doubt, not to know which way to turn, to be at a loss with oneself, to not know how to decide or what to do, to be perplexed. All right. And that's exactly. Let's go down. It says to have no way out. All right. To be at a loss mentally. OK, to stand in doubt, to be perplexed. You see, but that's exactly what this devil is doing. He's putting you in a position to where it looks like you have no way out. You see, but us in this knowledge, man, through the spirit and power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, who's blessed us with understanding. All right, we know that we have a way out. We know that it's not this devil who feeds us, man. You see, who houses and clothes. We know that it's not him, man, because all things are from Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, like the priest Osman Watt like to go into, I think that Matthew 6. All right. Where it talks about when you read in the blue letter, I think it tells you that it's the cure for anxiety. You see. So let's go back. Let's go back to this video real quick. Get a couple of. I'm gonna let it play a little bit longer. Let it play a little bit longer, and then we're gonna get some more scriptures.
I never thought I would believe it. Growing up in the time of abundance, where you could go to the supermarket, an American supermarket was a cornucopia of variety and choice. And having meals and food and all these things, we looked at it as a right. But that's about to change drastically. There are going to be countries that suffer much worse than us. Some of the Asian countries that are net importers of food, that don't produce their own natural resources, they're the ones that are going to be the canary in the coal mine. They're the ones to keep an eye on and watch, because as go them, will go us. Not to as nearly as bad, because we are a breadbasket. We've been blessed with a lot of natural resources, and we have the ability to produce and grow a lot of food. And we have the American spirit, and we always find a way. We are clever and resourceful people. But if you're still clinging on to the way things were with your expectations, well, you're going to be disappointed, because all of us are going to have to make some hard choices. What I want to accomplish in this video is not to fearmonger. I'm not fearful. What is happening may be a benefit. Sometimes when you get so far off the path, when you become so selfish and so consumed in abundance, you can lose perspective on what's important. And what this is going to do is it's going to force families and communities to come together for their very existence and for their very survival.
Well, according to the scriptures, they're not going to come together. Real quick. Real quick, let's go to it. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 15. All right. In verse 19, it says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." All right. And in this video, like this man was trying to say, man, this is opportunity for people to come together. Well, that's not according to the scriptures, man. Yahushua said that he's come to bring division. All right. Everything about this so-called United States is divided, you see, including the people. All right. They're particular, what their beliefs, you know what I'm saying? This is Babylon the Great. This is Babylon, which means confusion, man. OK. So the only people who are going to be together in this time and who are going to be of one mind is the elect. OK.
In this video, I want to talk to you, or I want to tell you what my outlook is on this and what the practical things that me and my family will be doing to prepare for a very difficult winter if things continue as they're going. Now, what qualifications do I have to come here and share this knowledge with you? I don't, other than someone that just wants the best for my family and who doesn't want to have to rely upon government assistance, and I want to be able to be a provider, and I want to be able to get through and to not only just survive, but to thrive in this. And that has really been my mission.
And the only way you're going to be able to thrive or survive, all right, is if you're the elect, man. You see, let's real quick. I know I'm stopping it a lot. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 2. OK, because even though all these skills that this dude said that he had it in his video, you can have all the skills in the world, but if the Lord, at the end of the day, if the Lord is not with you, then you're not going to make it. All right, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 2. All right, in verse 27, it says, "Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance." You see? So the only one who's going to have abundance is going to be the elect, So I'm gonna fast forward the video, for time's sake. Let's go to about around the 6-minute mark. So you're going to start talking about ultimately his grandfather, and how he ultimately got the experience of, going out and collecting food and, dehydrating food and, storing food and stuff from his grandfather who went through the Dust Bowl. All right. The Dirty 30, when you look it up, that took place in the 1930s. You know what I'm saying? That drought. OK, that happened over here in America. But for time's sake, let's get to the point.
Kids in their family, we would pick walnuts up that would just fall off the tree, and we would bring them back and build racks by the wood stove and dry them and crack them. And my grandmother and my mother were there. We would go. And then in the fall, we would do forward these families that the little kids, when he was a little kid in school, when they were still in Oklahoma. And I didn't realize how unique and special that was. And the reason is because my grandfather knew what it was like to be without. He told me that when he was a little kid in school, when they were still in Oklahoma, there were families that were worse off than them. And so poor were these families that the little kids would come to school with sparrow sandwiches between two bread, a little tiny sparrow. And the only reason they had that is the kids could go out in the barn with the slingshot and kill these sparrows, and what they killed is what they ate, and that's all that they had.
And that's the time that we coming into, you know what I'm saying? That people, whatever people can get their hands on, they're going to eat. OK, whether it's a sparrow, all right, whether it's a fucking cat or a dog, or whether it's another human, man, because according to the scriptures, cannibalism is coming back. All right, at an all-time high. All right. They just put out it's talks about Argentina on how they're trying to introduce donkey meat. All right, because of the crisis that their economy is going through down there. All right, that you have our people eating donkey meat, you see, and there's nothing new under the sun, as the scriptures say, because you can read about the same account of our people, being besieged and ultimately to the point to where they were eating unlawful, anything that they can get their hands on, man, including donkey and bird dungs, bird shit, man. You see, dove's dung, and you can read about that in the book of 2 Kings. All right, just for time's sake, let's keep going.
This is, I don't know, are we going to get to that level where we have to have sparrow sandwich? I don't know that that's going to be.
It's going to get to that level, man, and it's going to get even worse than that. So people gonna start eating people, you know? Anything they gonna get their hands on, man.
The case, but those of you that are living on the margins that are already suffering from see now, I can see your car that you have to fill up. That's going to affect everything. That means transportation for food. And another thing that we're not considering is fertilizer. We're starting to see now, I can see the big picture. All of these wars like Ukraine. Ukraine, for our European friends, was a huge breadbasket for Europe. Well, that's not producing anymore. Here in America, we have, we've been hearing for the last several years, this food processing plant catches fire, this oil line gets, or oil pipeline gets blown up, this food processing plant is going down, and we're kind of watching this and thinking, how strange. But here now we see all of this is coming together.
Right, because you're being besieged, okay? This happens over, the devil uses gradualism, man, you see? If he would do it all at once or at one time, then people would fight back, they would resist, all right? And this devil knows this, so he uses time, all right? He uses he uses time as a weapon, you see? He does it gradually to where people, people don't pay attention. It's not as obvious, all right, as it is if he would do it just all at once. He would just totally try to come down and take control all at once, all right? Over the years, he's been able to besiege, and take rights to where before people realize it, all right, he's going to have all the food and they ain't going to have shit at all. And they're going to have to go to him. All right.
There seems to be a concerted or an organized effort to attack the supply system, oil, food, which drives food production, to bring in some sort of a crisis, almost like a COVID 2.0. There's not going to be a pandemic, but these shortages are going to really, really affect everything. Our poor brothers in Australia right now are suffering terribly. You can watch what's happening in Australia, and right there, you're going to see what is going to be coming here. Trucks sitting beside the road for days and days now. Food and produce spoiling, not being able to deliver it because there's no fuel to be had. I read a few years ago, Australia, for example, had 12 oil refineries. Now they have 2. And Australia is going to suffer greatly. Many of our allies are going to suffer greatly.
You see, and it's not only happening here, but it's happening all throughout the 4 corners of the earth, man. You see, because at the end of the day, these officials, these top leaders of these countries are ultimately down with this new world order agenda. You see, they all believe in that one world government, man. All right, that's being spearheaded by the Edomites. All right, by these rich international banking families. You see, so it's not only happening here in America; it's happening, in other places. You see, because they're all on one accord. They're trying to erect this new age Tower of Babel. You see, to where Esau is Nimrod and he's able to control the people. All right, to a point that has never been seen on the planet Earth before. All right, this is what's taking place.
So what we can do is to really pull your head up out of the sand and really face the facts of what's happening. This is happening. And when oil gets up to 150, 200, it is going to bring all economies to a screeching halt. And one thing that we can do to kind of mitigate that is you can either have subsistence over hamburger helper and red beans and rice, or you can be proactive now and be like my grandfather and my family was, and what we're going to be doing. When the huckleberries are in, we're going to be picking them, bringing them home and canning them. When the blueberries are in, we're going to be doing U-pick. Apples, pears, peaches. We're going to double the production of our garden. We're going to plant more fruit trees.
You see, and more than likely he lives out, in a country area, where these particular things grow. You see, and Esau has set the mass majority of people in the cities. You see, at one point in time, growing up, you had, in communities, people would have, fruit trees, pecan trees, all kind of, trees, man, that grow food. You see, but over time, it disappeared. Now nobody has fruit trees or peach trees or apple trees or none of that shit, man. And it's ultimately set up that mindset ultimately left, or went away when our grandparents got older, man. You know what I'm saying? It didn't carry on. You see, and Esau set it up that way because he wants total control of all the resources All right, in order to get you people to submit.
so that we're not dependent upon $70 a barrel. It makes sense to bring apples from New Zealand to sell in our local market. But I tell you the truth, when it's 150 or 200, that is going to be over. And if it's not in season in your area, you're not going to have it.
Right. All this abundance that these people have over here, that shit is getting ready to stop, man. All right. We've been warning you, starting with our apostles and elders, man. I'm going to play a little bit more and grab a scripture and end it off.
So now is the time to limit your of them and get rid of them fast, because big car payments, if you've got rushes to this, when the masses wake up that things are not getting better and they start getting pressed, these things are not going to have the value that they still have now. So circle the wagons, make sure you take care of your exposures, and really be looking at your food. I tell you, gentlemen, this is going to be a big, big deal. There will be shortages. Trucking, fertilizer, food, it's going to radically change, and it seems to be engineered. You know, now you start to see, why was Bill Gates buying up all that farmland? Millions or hundreds of thousands of acres, paying top dollar for it. Didn't make any sense. Why is that? Now I see. It seems that they knew this was going to happen, and they're putting themselves in a position so that they can be the one that has the lab-grown synthetic meat, and he'll be the only option. He'll be like the Joseph in the Bible. You'll be coming there with your bowl in your hand. May I have a little bit of your engineered meat, Bill? But if you plan ahead...
That's heavy. All right, and he made a good point. That's exactly what's taking place. Esau is trying to set himself up. All right, just like he gave that example of Joseph in the Bible. Real quick, let's go to it. Because what you had was through wisdom, you know what I'm saying? Yahweh Shem Shai put Joseph in a position to where, you know, he was able to have food during the time of famine, which you know, ultimately helped Egypt blow up and gain the power that they did during that time. All right, so let's go to Genesis chapter 47. Let's go straight to the point. All right, then I end it off. All right, this is, let me see. Start up a little bit. All right, let's start at verse, I start at verse 12. It says, and I'm going to read the NLT as well. Joseph also provided his father and his brothers and all his father's household with food according to the number of their children. There was no food, however, in the whole region, because the famine was severe. Both Egypt and Canaan wasted away because of the famine. All right. And this is this new spiritual Egypt. All right. It says Joseph collected all the money that was to be found in Egypt and Canaan in payments for the grain they were buying, and he brought it to Pharaoh's palace. It says when the money of the people of Egypt and Canaan was gone, all Egypt came to Joseph and said, "Give us food." You see, it said, because when you read the story, like I said, you know, Yahweh Shem Shai gave Joseph, you know, the interpretation of the dream that Pharaoh had about the 7 plenteous years and the 7 years of famine. All right, and during the plenteous years, Joseph used wisdom. All right, and put a portion of the grain and all the or your produce, so to say, that they had. You know what I'm saying? And when the time of famine came, all right, that's how he was able to, you know, dish out and, you know, and make Egypt the way, you know, the power it was by, you know, having control of the food. OK, so it says when the money of the people of Egypt and Canaan was gone, all Egypt came to Joseph and said, "Give us food. Why should we die before your eyes? Our money is all gone." It says, "Then bring your livestock," said Joseph. It says, "I will sell you food in exchange for your livestock since your money is gone." So they bought their livestock to Joseph, and he gave them food in exchange for their horses, their sheep, their goats, their cattle and donkeys, and he brought them through that year with food in exchange for all their livestock. We're getting to the point now. It says, "And when that year was over, they came to him the following year and said, 'We cannot hide from our Lord the fact that since our money is gone and our livestock belongs to you, there is nothing left for our Lord except our body and our land. Why should we perish before your eyes, we and our land as well? Buy us and our land in exchange for food.' It says, 'And we with our land will be in bondage to Pharaoh. Give us seed that we may live and not die, and that the land may not be become desolate. Okay. So there you have it, you see. So it got to the point to where they sold what they had to the point to where they didn't have nothing else to sell but their bodies. All right. But their self for total surrender of their property. All right. And you know, their personhood to, you know, for survival. You see, they sold themselves into slavery, and Esau is setting himself up. All right. In the same position by hoarding. All right. And causing these things to take place. You see, and ultimately it's the Lord at the end of the day. All right. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 16, and I'm gonna end it off. The 2nd Ezra chapter 16. All right, let's go to verse 22. It says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the others that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Right, you see. So a lot of people is getting ready to perish via famine. All right, and those who escape the famine, all right, those who, like this dude saying he preserved, that you gonna be killed by the sword. So there's no way to escape. All right, as the scriptures say in the book of Amos, the day of the Lord is as, you know, the day of the Lord is as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him. All right, he ran into the house. All right, leaning his hand on the wall and the serpent bit him. All right, there is no escape from judgment. The only way you're going to be able to escape and make it out of this, all right, if you have that the why and you're of the elect, man, you see, you have that mark of exemption, which it says that what the righteous shall scarcely be saved. So letting you know how bad it's going to get on the planet Earth, man. You see, these are the times that we're getting ready to come into, brothers and sisters, man. So, all right, ultimately prepare your minds, you know what I'm saying? Lock in and shit. Tighten that relationship, that one-on-one relationship that you have with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Chakodash, double honors unto the apostles of great millstone that teach and rule well. As always, peace and salutation to the elect. Shalom.